Alright, we got the hard part done. So you can see I have data points, I kept going. I have more than 10, so I'm pleased with that. And I have the last data point lit up right now. I was going to run out of room on the screen, and that's perfectly fine as long as you have more than 10 data points. Alright, so a couple things with the data points you may have noticed, it's not perfect. Mine kind of goes up and down. So that's where you could have used your little pinch zoom feature. Alright, and also what you'll notice, especially with the crane car, is when it's moving fast enough, the hubcap or whatever you were tracking, if it was a circle, if it's moving fast enough, it may have become elongated, like a donut shape. Well, if it's elongated and really blurry, you may not know which part to actually track. So what I would suggest is if my cart's moving to the right, you always want to line it up with the right side of that donut shape. So there may be some blurriness to the left of it after it, but that's okay. It's just doing that because it's moving really, really fast. All right. So I've got my data points, but this tutorial is to teach you about the origin and scale. So I'm going to go to the top where the tabs are. I'm on points right now. I'm going to select origin and scale. So we'll do one at a time. I want to get my card out of the way, so either fast forward to the very end of the video or the very beginning using your arrows at the bottom, the arrows with the lines on it. So since I had my car out of the way of the measuring tape, I could do the beginning. If I want to just go all the way to the end and get it out of the picture, that's fine too. So the first thing I'm going to do is a scale, which are these two circles that are movable up here. You want to align the center of the circles where the end of the line is with whatever your measuring tape is. You guys will be using the half meter sticks or the meter sticks in class. I chose to use a measuring tape, obviously. So do the best you can to line up the centers of the circle with the end. And this is not a meter stick or a half meter stick. This is a measuring tape, which I measured out 12 inches. That's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. But up at the top, it says 247 pixels is 1 meter. That's clearly not the case for my scale right now, so I need to change this. So what you could do is you could change this to then say 12 inches. Hopefully a red flag's popping up in your head right now, though, because we don't use the English system in class. We use the metric system. So grab your calculator real quick. Should be pretty easy. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So go ahead and do the conversion. For mine, that would mean 12 inches is approximately 30.5 centimeters. So then I can go up here and I can change this to then be 30.5. And most importantly, definitely make sure that you change this to not be inches anymore. That would be a real bad thing. That needs to be centimeters. Centimeters are fine. That's a metric system. You may just want it in meters, though, to be consistent with what I typically do in class. So if you're in centimeters, this is the easiest conversion we know. 100 centimeters is 1 meter. So all I have to do is move the decimal place 2 to the left because I'm going to divide by 100. So I can, instead of writing this as 30.5 centimeters, I can change this to be 0.305. But again, my units need to be meters. Okay? So that's my scale, which is the 2 circles. My units are good. I took time to do the conversion. That should be fine. The next thing is the origin, which is this circle right here with the kind of plus cross, and then it's got an X and Y axis. Good news with this lab, the cart that you were using should be on a horizontal surface as long as your camera is horizontal as well. So even though this X-axis can rotate like that, we do want it to be horizontal to the direction that the object was moving, or parallel to the direction of the object. So I know that it was moving parallel with my measuring tape, so I'm going to line up the X-axis with that. And it looks pretty parallel, so I'm pleased with that. The next thing, though, with the origin, which is not a huge deal, but I like to take the time with it, is I like to go and try to find the first place that I tracked a data point. So I'm going to go back to points, and then I'm going to just fast forward at the bottom, use my little scroll feature down here. And then once I get close, then I can use the step feature if I want, or if you hit on the dot, that's fine too. So now that I know I'm at the very first data point, I'm going to go back to origin and scale. And I'm going to take this circle with the cross and I'm going to line it up right on that hubcap, which should be the first data point. This will just make my graph really clean. It'll keep all the data in one quadrant for this lab at least, and it'll be easy to read. All right. So once you have your scale and origin set up, again, I want you to take a screenshot of this. And then you will, of course, upload that onto your PDF document using PDF Expert, and that's how I will be able to grade it in your lab.